As I bring on Congresswoman Maloney, I want to join the distinguished chairman in acknowledging legislation of other members of Congress that are contained in the chairman's legislation that they are putting forth, and chairwoman's. And I also want to acknowledge Maxine Waters is doing some very important work on this subject, not part of this package, but part of preserving our democracy. With that, I'm pleased to yield to the distinguished chairwoman of the...
One really has to ask the question whether these people are going to one day wake up and decide to stop humiliating themselves. Like, it really should not be all that complicated, but the trend is clearly continuing this week where Democrats are still trying to fill the void of having an actual political opposition movement grounded by grassroots support and like actual ideas and all that stuff by trying to fill it all with these empty, stupid, performative, theatrical photo ops. And that's really what it's about, right? That's why California Senator Alex Padilla tried to get himself handcuffed by ICE so that he could play the victim of it, because you get the image of, oh, U.S. Senator in handcuffs by the Trump administration. This is so terrible. Same exact behavior, by the way, just yesterday with that New York mayoral candidate in the mayor's race up there, where he was literally escorting an illegal alien trying to help the illegal evade law enforcement. And then when law enforcement got up to him for it and said, hey, you're under arrest, you can't do that, they're like, you arrested a sitting mayoral candidate, how dare you do this? Never mind, by the way, what he did. Never ask what caused the photo op to begin with, just get the photo op. So Democrats are continuing this trend, and Jerry Nadler today, a Democrat who apparently has no original ideas of his own, much like most of these people, right? They're literally just copying what each other do. I don't know if it's some type of like purity test or something in the Democrat Party where you have to show to the base, hey, I also showed up to my ICE facility and got utterly humiliated and looked really stupid. See, look, I'm on board with you guys. Please, David Hogg, don't primary me. Like, again, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. But this is yet still continuing this long trend of Democrat politicians utterly humiliating themselves, because here is the real problem with what they're doing is the whole photo op thing might have worked back in the 1960s, let's say, where, you know, you just have the picture of you getting handcuffed and that's the iconic thing that people see. And it's like, oh, wow, what happened here? Why is this so bad, right? But the problem that these politicians keep on running to in the 21st century is that everyone has a smartphone. There's too many news outlets. There's too much access to information where people can easily find, hey, what did the Democrat mayor candidate do to get himself handcuffed? What did Alex Padilla do that triggered the situation? And, why is Jerry Nadler here while, he gets his little soundbite of saying, we were denied? Why does he just look so stupid? We'll get into all of this here today. Some updates to give you on recent Democrat politicians and their antics, because what week would it be if we didn't have Democrats impeding law enforcement or showing up to federal buildings without an appointment or a clearance to do so, like formal requests beforehand, and then absolutely fuming because they got denied? Maxine Waters did this. Now Jerry Nadler is doing this. Chris Van Hollen, of course, did it in another country. Again, guys, this party, it's like watching deja vu because these people have no original ideas of their own. But with that said, let us now investigate today why, let's really, think about that. Why exactly do the Democrats have an approval rating in the 20s? So we'll get into it. First though, folks, do us a big favor here. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Subscribing, of course, guys, is the best way to support these videos and ensure that we can keep bringing them to you. It is also the way for you, of course, to stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, so photo op of the day number one here, as you'll see. Apparently, Representative Jerry Nadler was just blocked from entering an ICE facility in New York. And as you can see, there he is. It would appear barely able to stand or walk, by the way. Jerry Nadler, by the way, just about a couple of years ago, went very viral for a video, you guys might remember, where he pooped his pants seemingly on the stage. One has to wonder if he pooped his pants again, because what is going on in this? I mean, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, clearly to see, Democrats are certainly not sending their best. But with that in mind, so Jerry Nadler does show up to the stage, and, you have to imagine here, why did he get denied? Probably because he doesn't have an appointment. I'm going to guess that, right? Again, this is the running trend where they show up without permission and then they're like, they won't let me in. Look at this lack of transparency. Take a listen here as Jerry Nadler and this guy, Major, apparently are fuming over the fact that they were not allowed in. So,
where we saw two cases, And in both cases, the government moved to dismiss the case, and had the government dismissed the case and they walked out, they would have immediately been seized by ICE officers and deported from the country under expedited removal. But these two people had apparently been advised, and they objected to dismissing the case, and so court dates were set for sometime in the future. Of course, if they had not been advised, that had they not had an attorney who told them to do that, they would have been deported on the spot. Number one. Number two, they told us, the deputy field director told us that the 10th floor was not a detention facility. Yes, people are detained there. Yes, they stay there for 1 or 2 nights or 3 nights, staying, sleeping on the floor on benches. But they're not. But it's not a detention center. They are detained, but it's not a detention center because they don't choose to define it as a detention center. Well, this is ridiculous. If people are detained there, it's a detention center. And
anyone falling asleep, guys? So there you have Jerry Nadler joining there the long list of Democrat politicians who, again here, guys, seem to think that making a political stand based on advocacy for illegal aliens is going to be the best way that Democrats build political support going into the midterms. So there you have it. Yeah, yet again, just the normal antics, but very funny to see that Jerry Nadler is the one involved here. And the reason I bring that up, guys, is because this is all happening just after, earlier this month, Jerry Nadler had, at the very least, you could call it in the headlines, his office raided by ICE, and one of his staffers was handcuffed, okay? This is actually one of the more underrated, I guess, stories recently. But guys, this all went down at the start of June when apparently there was an anti-ICE protester happening outside, and law enforcement were investigating reports that apparently the protesters, the rioters that were causing all this chaos downstairs, I believe this was in New York if I'm not mistaken, actually were allegedly, at least the accusation was, they were hiding inside Jerry Nadler's congressional office. Okay, so I don't know what it is here, guys, with Democrat judges and politicians having this obsession with harboring criminals, harboring illegal aliens, if that's true in this case. But apparently, right? Basically, all that happened is that nobody was in trouble here. DHS wanted to just come and make sure everything was okay, address those response or whatever. But apparently, one of Jerry Nadler's staffers was handcuffed after she was basically like blockading the door. Okay, she was not allowing law enforcement to come in. She's saying, screw you, right? She's going all absolutely crazy. And this, of course, ended with the DHS police, as you'll see here, handcuffing her and temporarily detaining her. By the way, not arresting her, but just like handcuffing her so that they could actually go in the office and make sure everything was okay. And check out that video right here. And then we'll show you Jerry Nadler's hilarious response, because much like Alex Padilla, much like all of these people, they get themselves in this F around and find out situation, right? Where they literally will like obstruct law enforcement, in some cases assault law enforcement. And then when law enforcement responds by saying, okay, we're going to handcuff you, we're going to push you aside, something that, you can't do that to me. It's so ridiculous. But as you'll see here, this right here is the video of what happened at Jerry Nadler's office earlier this month, as he, in their description there, have their office, quote unquote, raided by ICE. Although I'm not here to necessarily go against that, because that sounds kind of funny to say out loud. Yeah, Jerry Nadler got raided by ICE, but take a listen.
No, she did not. That is not what happened.
Listen back. That is not what happened. Okay?
What?
Hold on a second.
Give me your contact information right
No,
now.
I'm going to give you some speak to you.
Hey.
That's what I'm going to
Speak
do.
to you after.
We got you.
No.
We got you.
You're
okay.
I don't have to go.
You're okay. You're okay. You're going to be okay.
I'm a federal officer. We're here checking on something. We have the right to check. I'm giving you. I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. You harboring rioters in the office. So there was not a problem. Let's walk inside. Let's walk in.
For what?
Let me see what's in here.
That's what it's your office.
Let's go. Come on.
You need to stay.
Hold it there.
I mean, just typical behavior. Like, it can literally not get more typical than that, because you have, again, this congressional staffer just blockading the police, causing all these issues, right? Resisting them, etc. They handcuff her, and she's like, how could this happen to me? What? I'm messing around with the police. They drag her off. They don't send her to jail. They just put her basically down the hall so they can actually search the office and come in, as they, in their eyes at least, have the authority to do, because guess what? The office is this is the allegation at least, the office was hiding rioters inside that law enforcement was looking for because they were causing problems outside, right? So that's like, what? You can't do this to me. Same thing with Alex Padilla, by the way. The guy disrupts a press conference, okay? He, despite his claims, does not properly identify himself in time that he's a sitting U.S. senator. Then he starts shoving the freaking officers, and then the officers detain him. He's like, how could this happen? You can't do that to a sitting U.S. senator. First of all, I thought nobody's above the law. Secondly, what do you expect to happen? That's what I want to ask all these people. To Padilla, to the New York mayoral candidate that we'll talk about later in the video, or this staffer at Jerry Nadler's office. What if any of you people expect to happen, right? You know, you're the same party who says obviously that nobody's above the law, but forget even the political slogans there. Common sense says, if law enforcement wants to come in and do something, see something, whatever, and you like cause problems, you're like, you know, blocking stuff. What are you going to be surprised when they arrest you? Or at the very least detain you, right? Handcuff you or whatever? No, I'm crying. I'm being dragged off to the gulags. Call my boyfriend. As I said, right? All of this performative garbage theater for the photo op, and that's what it's all about. Jerry Nadler apparently responded to this incident saying, quote, President Trump and DHS are sowing chaos in our communities. It's chaos, guys. Oh, so much chaos here. Using intimidation tactics against both citizens and non-citizens in a reckless and dangerous manner. In the most recent and deeply troubling incident, DHS agents forcefully entered my congressional office and handcuffed a member of my staff. Again, guys, I asked the question, why did they handcuff? This is the point, right? Why did they handcuff? What did you do to provoke that? You know, what happened before the picture of getting handcuffed? This has been well documented in the media, but you notice how they don't actually talk about that, right? It's just, oh, she got handcuffed. It's all about the photo op. All of this stuff is performative. It is garbage. It is completely fake. From the outset, my number one concern was for the safety of my staff. Yeah, clearly. While no arrests, you read it right here, right? While no arrests were made and the situation was quickly de-escalated, aka nothing really happened. The moment that she freaking calmed down and stopped causing problems, they let her go. Okay, it was a routine thing here. But still, let's make a drama out of it. Let's make a scene, performative theater. That's all these people have. Quote, I am alarmed by the aggressive and heavy-handed tactics DHS is employing in New York City and across the country. So while nothing really happened, I'm scared, guys. Amazing messaging. The decision to enter a congressional office. Okay, again, why did they enter the congressional office? How many times do we have to say this, right? There's a reason these things happen. Alex Padilla last Friday did not get randomly handcuffed for no reason. These things happen for a reason because you guys keep provoking the incidents and then are purposely using them for photo ops. And again, maybe years ago, before everyone had smartphones, before the internet existed where people can easily find out what really happened, you guys would be convincing with this. But I'm sorry, it's kind of hard at this point to say that, oh, look, there's proof of authoritarianism, because as I so often say, the Democrats are the party of the boy who cried wolf, and this is yet another example of that. Nonetheless, demonstrates a deeply troubling disregard for proper legal boundaries. Yeah, like the proper legal boundary of don't freaking impede law enforcement in their operations. If this can happen in a member of Congress's office, it can happen to anyone, and it is happening. Correct. Nobody's above the law. Yes. You should not impede law enforcement, you know. Like, you notice how it's the same story over and over again. It's like watching deja vu from the Padilla thing, okay? I call on President Trump and DHS to halt the use of these dangerous tactics and to abandon use of the expedited removal process, which denies due process to immigrants and citizens alike, aka please stop deporting illegal aliens, please stop enforcing immigration law. So that, it would appear, was the precursor to today, where Jerry Nadler is now taking it up, right? He's going to defend his staffers, right? Only 3 weeks later, guys, he finally decided to get off the couch and show up to ICE to make his mind heard, as you can see. And there he is. Truly intimidating. I mean, I'm sure the Trump administration is just quaking in fear at this sight of Jerry Nadler showing up to get denied. Now, with that said, you have a similar situation that you saw yesterday. I'm sure some of you may have already seen this reporting, but apparently New York City comptroller and a candidate in the mayor's race there, Brad Lander, got arrested by federal DHS agents at an immigration court. According to Fox 5, as you'll see here, right, Nadler was trying to escort a man out of court to avoid ICE detention. Again, what do you expect to happen here, right? But take a look here in this video as he gets arrested and then makes a big scene out of it and pretends like it's some type of huge deal. Oh, look, they're randomly handcuffing mayoral candidates. It's like, again, guys, I wonder why it happened, what triggered it in the first place. But nonetheless, take a listen.
You have a judicial warrant. You have a judicial warrant.
Keep going. Back up. Sorry, back up. I'm gonna make this difficult. Sorry. Back up. Let's back up. Let's not cause any problems.
I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Sir, where is the warrant?
I have my hand here.
I would like to see the warrant. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. Take him in. Take him in. Take him in. Let's go. You don't have the You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the, I'm not obstructing, I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. Am I asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant.
Traffic, we go too. Sorry. No way. I'm safe. Where are you taking him? Hello?
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens, where are you taking me? And with what authority?
Why are you arresting me?
With what authority?
And where are you taking him? No!
Security details. Number one is going to go with him, all right? Hang on. Where's number one? Hold on. Brett, this is number one right here, all right? Thank you.
You don't have the authority to arrest political candidates in the city of New York. Wait a minute. Wonder where that happened before. Nonetheless, okay, so there you hear this guy, what's his name? I don't even know this guy's name. Brad, right? Okay, Brad Nadler was going out and causing a scene, claiming, oh, I was just asking for the warrant. Well, it turns out he's doing a little bit more than that. We'll read you this story here from the New York Post, as you can see. New York mayoral candidate Brad Nadler is now released, by the way, after a chaotic arrest by ICE agents at an immigration court. City comptroller was arrested by ICE agents in a chaotic, caught-on-camera moment that will likely give his humdrum mayoral campaign a boost. I mean, literally, as I said, what is this all about, right? This is all just clout-chasing nonsense for the cameras. The progressive Democrat spent about 4 hours in custody before he was ambled out of 26 Federal Plaza, escorted by his wife and Governor Kathy Hochul, who, by the way, made a big scene out of this, and announced that the assault and obstruction charges against him were dropped by none other than Governor Kathy Hochul. Speaking to reporters and supporters outside, Nadler wasted no time blasting Mayor Eric Adams. Apparently it's his fault, and it's also the fault of Andrew Cuomo. I don't know how Andrew Cuomo has anything to do with this. Okay, he's just running for the office, you know. But anyways, declaring New Yorkers deserve a mayor who will protect the rights of immigrants. As you can see right here, so much protecting of the rights of immigrants going on, guys. Amazing optics, by the way. You know, somehow this is going to make him look good. I don't know. You know, ask the Democrats why they think this is, such a strong case for them. He just looks like such a sane, rational guy. Okay. Anyways, Nadler goes on to talk here, but when asked if he was hoping to pull a political stunt at the courthouse, the answer, by the way, is yes. He said this was his third visit in recent weeks to the immigration hearings. So I guess what you're saying here is you've been trying to cause a political stunt for weeks, you know, instead of actually campaigning in front of actual U.S. citizens. Hey, let me show up to advocate for illegal aliens. Is that going to be his political strategy in the election? I don't know. As you can see here in more videos of this absolute clown claiming, oh, he was just asking for a judicial warrant. So let's see what actually happened. As you can see, the eye-popping video here shows him being manhandled and cuffed by the feds. He said he repeatedly demanded to see a judicial warrant as he kept his hand clutched on the detainee's shoulder. Okay, so what was he doing here? He's standing in the hallway saying, hey, you know, stop it. Don't, you know, he's trying to pull this illegal alien away or whatever, shoving the freaking, you know, moving his body around and all this. And then when he wouldn't stop, guess what happened? They freaking handcuffed the guy. Because again, right? You had another case of Democrat politicians impeding law enforcement and then wondering here, right, why this happens to him. So as you can see, right? But he goes on to be arrested for allegedly assaulting law enforcement and impeding a federal officer. Tricia McLaughlin, a spokesperson for the US DHS, said, as she pointed out here, our heroic ICE law enforcement officers face a 413% increase in assaults against them. It is wrong that politicians seeking higher office undermine law enforcement safety, true by the way, to get a viral moment. No one is above the law, and if you lay a hand, yes, guess what, on a law enforcement officer, you will face consequences. Here, by the way, is the video of him coming out of the detention center, wondering what the heck happened, why did that happen? Escorted by none other than Governor Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul then apparently proceeded to have a press conference about the matter where she first of all announced that she will, much like California, be setting up a $50 million illegal alien defense fund. So we have this once again, once again, let's spend a state budget already in a state where there's already incredibly high taxes on, funding the legal defense for people who are not even here legally, as you can see. And apparently, by the way, guys, in this very press conference, Kathy Hochul's eyes, the Botox or something seemed to be twitching or malfunctioning. I mean, take a look here for yourself and, just think to yourself, this is apparently the best and brightest that the Democrat Party is currently trying to offer us.
Do you want to know what I really think?
Please.
It's bullshit. How dare they take an elected official who's been going down there for weeks to escort people who are afraid to walk into a courthouse in the United States of America, because despite them having legal status and following the rules and making their appointments, that they don't know what's going to happen to them. So Brad Lander has stepped up to be a guiding help for them. And this is what happens to them. What the hell is happening to this country? I just left Little Haiti. People are being traumatized. Small businesses, people walking down the street. When I was there in August, the streets were mobbed. People were walking down the sidewalks. There were vendors everywhere. The traffic was crowded. Today, there was silence. People are living in fear. One woman just told me the ICE agents are going in and out of buildings there. They came here with legal status. Temporary protective status was legal. Tens of thousands of people came here with legal status, and it's literally ripped away from them.
Well, Kathy, I mean, aren't you the very person who is trying to implement congestion pricing, right? You were the one who's saying, oh, the traffic is too heavy in New York. And now, according to you, as you're reporting, it's empty, it's quiet, it's probably nice to drive in, there's not as much traffic. Okay, mission accomplished. There you go. Because last time we checked in on you, that's what you were fighting the Trump administration over. So, I don't know, you ought to be, a lot of people, by the way, LA, too, same thing. Okay, a lot of traffic in the city, massive reports, especially the first week this was all happening, of decreased traffic on the highways and freeways and roads, which of course also begs some interesting questions. It's like, is that much of the population illegal? That you noticeably, see a decrease in traffic when ICE starts doing raids? I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, nonetheless, there you have it. So you have all the crying over this politician after he clearly did something that provoked the action to begin with. Jerry Nadler, his office, similar thing. And Democrats, for yet another straight week, keep repeating themselves, keep doing the same thing, making the big stand, okay? The big issue here is that Donald Trump ought not to enforce our immigration law because it's scary. It's making people scared. They're being intimidated. Honestly, I think if you are in this country illegally, why should you not be in fear, frankly, of deportation? That's actually seems to be a pretty simple thing. If I went to another country, overstayed the tourist visa or whatever, I'm there illegally, or just snuck in illegally, wouldn't it be actually a normal thing for you to constantly have to worry, hey, maybe they'll find me. Maybe they'll realize I'm in this country illegally. It's not actually that crazy of a concept, okay? Yeah, if you're an illegal alien in a country, it's pretty logical, frankly, that you would be in constant fear of deportation, which is hence why it's not really a recommended thing that you ought to do if it's such a problem to live in fear, supposedly. But I don't know. Anyways, guys, with that said, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.